All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have a ton to go over in a short amount of time, and tonight is a call-in show. The number to call is 224-400-MARF. This is a live show, so anything can happen. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have a ton to go over, so if you are new here, remember this is a live show, and we're also going to go over all of the current events that are happening right now, but also remember you can get all of our bibliograph over on our website. Now, when you go over there, you'll see that every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we show you here today will be available on the website, and it's very easy organized. It is all done by thumbnail, so getting out before it all goes south. Once you click on that, you will see that it brings you to every single article, video, tweet, anything we show you here, we give you the info and the source for. That way you know exactly where it is coming from. Now, remember that this is also the location that you would go to find the web-only content. Once you hit a yellow bar down at the bottom, one, you are getting into the web-only content, and two, you are getting into the callers. If a caller calls in, for instance, if Jacob Israel or Global Witness or Survival Living call in, and they have a channel, their channel information would be down there, or Wages World or any of the others. But if... Also, if they have pictures, videos, that will all be updated live. So if you call in right now, if you have a crazy video of a convoy going by your house and they're ready to roll, you can send that in to marfooglenews.com/playmyvideo and we can get it on tonight's show. Now, also remember over on the right side, if you do want to support us, we're independent. You can also get products that will actually help you prepare for anything to come. Over on the right side, there are different boxes. Those are affiliate boxes. Essentially, that means when you go and purchase through those companies, they are going to send us a commission of your purchase and, in most cases, give you a discount. That way, you are getting something physically out of it. You are getting a discount and you're helping your favorite channel at the same time. I believe it is a win-win for everybody. Now, we're going to go into a ton of stuff, so let's get right into it. We're going to bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing just fine.
Now, just a quick little check. If you can, make sure to tell us if Dex is loud enough for everybody. A couple of people said that he was quiet a couple of shows ago. There was a couple of shows where he wasn't on there at all because it wasn't plugged in. So just make sure to let us know if the sound is okay. Sometimes it does change every show. So again, it's hard to keep it perfect. So make sure to let us know. And then let's get a roll call. If you're from a state, represent. I will start. Washington, yeah. All right, let's get right into it. Did alien technology crash in the Pacific in 2014? Harvard astronomer says maybe. The reason I brought this up is because we've already actually covered this way before. Now a bunch of mainstream articles are now covering it, talking about what we actually covered right when he said it. Avi Loeb, I believe is what his name is, but he is one of the famous Harvard professors that came out and said that Oumuamua, if you remember, Oumuamua was at the time the first interstellar object that we have ever tracked or ever saw, and that came into our solar system, and it was shaped like a cigar. Some say it looked like a dog doo-doo, but again, it was a crazy shape, and a lot of people had a lot of questions. Now, Oumuamua actually traveled, and if you looked at its path, it went by Earth and then sped up on its way out. It was going different speeds, so it was going right when it basically came right next to Earth. It then sped up and went out of our galaxy. So this gentleman was one of the first ones who actually questioned and put his name on the line. Again, 20 years ago, if you had a Harvard professor, put it out there that this thing may be a UFO, they would have been laughed off the board, or they would have been kicked out as a teacher. That honestly, people were laughed at for that kind of thing. And now he and others are saying that they thought that was. Now, where does this 2014 incident come in? Well, that was the meteor that came in, and some believed, and in fact, I believe two scientists believed that was actually the first interstellar object that we have seen. And they looked at the data and they said, hey, if this data is correct, we think that this was from another galaxy. But again, the information that they were using to base that on was straight from the government. So they were basically, there was no kind of footnotes on the government website to say how accurate that information was. And if there was a confirmation of how accurate it was, they would be able to tell for absolute sure that this was an interstellar object, that it came from outside of our universe or out of our galaxy, right? But then again, they basically did a Freedom of Information Act request, and then that request came back, and the Pentagon officially said that, yes, it is accurate. And that's how they found out that this was an interstellar object. Now, that same Harvard astronomer, Avi Loeb, is known for thinking out of the box. For example, in 2018, he suggested Oumuamua, the object from a distant solar system that passed near our sun the year before, might be alien technology. On April 20th, 2022, in an article in The Debrief, Loeb suggested that a meteor known to have crashed in the Pacific Ocean in 2014 might also be technology from alien civilization. So this is really wild to even think about. Again, if you want to call us on this subject or others, make sure to call us tonight at 224-400-MARF. If, again, you have a video of a convoy or planes flying right over your house, let us know as well. Call us in at 224-400-6273. That number is going to be down below, and it's going to be scrolling by every couple minutes. So what do you guys think about this? And again, I want to bring this up because this is something that a lot of people have debated for a very long time. As we've seen in the polls, a lot of people believe there is something out there. And the big question is the truth out there? Is there something, a smarter race, or are these angels? Are these the beings that created us that are coming back? The first time we ever saw an interstellar object, it actually changed speeds and kind of swooped in the grand scheme of thing right by Earth and then sped out of there. They actually nicknamed it Oumuamua, which is, the meaning of it is scout. Like that was the first one of its kind, like the scout for an alien race to come find us. And then a second object came shortly after that, which was really weird. It's like in our entire lives, we've never heard of this. Then all of a sudden we've heard of it, and this thing is called the Scout. It came, and a second object came. Now we know that there was actually three, at least three. And the big question is, if this was alien civilization or alien technology and it landed in the Pacific, is it still there? Is that why all of these weird operations on the West Coast happened? Did governments go and get that technology? Did something change then? Right around 2014 is when a ton of different things happened, and you can see from 2014 to like 2017, a huge technological advancement happened in a lot of different industries. So it's just kind of weird, and all of those came from inventions that actually came from usually the U.S. government, or in fact, Xi's government as well. In fact, shortly after that, all of a sudden, you had Vlad saying he had hypersonic missiles. Out of nowhere, they were basically ahead. So do you think that there's any connection with this? Do you think that this might be technology from an alien civilization, or do you think it is just a meteor that popped in from another universe? It says a meteor made news in mid-April 2022 when a memo from the U.S. Space Command confirmed that the object came from outside our solar system. Loeb and other fellow Harvard researcher Amir Sajjad argued in 2019 that the meteor might have been an interstellar origin, and now it is absolutely confirmed. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're watching the replay, thank you for commenting and telling me what that is. I try to read all of them. And then we have gas prices reach record high. Now, again, you can call in at 224-400-MARF, and I guess right before your call even starts, we can ask you, how much is gas where you are? In fact, if you want to answer in the chat, what was the highest gas price that you have seen locally where you're from? Here we have seen over $5. I believe $5.50 or $5.65 or something for premium, which again, premium is the highest end of it. I think at the same time it was like $5.25 for the non-premium. Jason Cohen says $4.75. I wonder where that $6.20 in California, $4.22 in Florida. Wow, so we do have extremely expensive stuff here. I guess we're on the top end. It looks like $4.29 regular. See, that means that the premium, or if you're using credit, that's like, $5. $4.08. We see $4.75 in Arizona. $5.59. Emma, I wonder if you're in California or in the West Coast. $5.63 at Costco. Are you kidding? The Costco gas is almost halfway to $6. Quantum Pirate says what was that, 420 or 422 or something? Let's see here. 475 in New York. Man, so we have higher gas prices than New York. That's insanity. Diesel is $5.89 in St. Louis. So I'm assuming you drive a big truck or a rig. Let's see here. 424 Missouri. Almost $6 here in Kentucky. How would they even be able to do that in some of the Midwest places where everything is lower cost? How can they do that? So I could see where proportionately, in the Northwest here in Seattle, everybody gets paid a higher wage, or a lot of people do, and for a family of four, just to put it into perspective, 70,000 is considered extreme, not just regular poverty, but extreme poverty. So if you make $70,000 a year, you are considered extreme poverty in a family of four. So if a family of four is depending on that, that's extreme poverty. Think about what that would have, how far that would have gone even 15 years ago, and now it is extreme poverty. Annoy B is here. We've got Bumpity. We've got Furniture Guy, Sunny D, San Diego Scott, Christy Wood. San Diego Scott says left coast is $6.59. This is just getting absurd. $4 in Southern Kentucky. So that's kind of, I've seen several people in Kentucky say, basically it depends, I guess, where you are in Kentucky. You've got totally varying prices there. I wonder what it is. Does anybody live in Houston, Texas? What is the price of gas in Houston? $70 to fill up a 55-liter tank. Just crazy. But yet $30 billion for UKR. Yes, that's right. We got to send all that money instead of putting it towards a gas tax or something. Let's just send it to a different country. The average gas price of gas in the United States rose to a new high on Tuesday of $4.37 a gallon. So that's all over the country. That's here. I wonder, our international viewers, if you're in Canada, Australia, Europe, what are your gas prices? Gem, what is it in Europe? What are these different prices all around the planet? I guess it would be a different currency, but, we'll see how close those are. So it's not going down, and now with the information that we shared with you over the last couple of weeks, that's only to go up, or that's what we assume. So not good. And then we have, let's see here. So this is a show in itself, but we have to be careful here. Remember, you can call in at 224-400-MARF. It says the secret lab project to breed a man/ape. Human-Z is what they were calling it. Human-Z super soldiers. It says news of a mysterious hybrid monkey with DNA from two different species shook the science world last week. The monkey, spotted near the Kintambagan River in Malaysian Borneo, appears to be a combination of two different species that are actually competing for forest space. A new study suggested. It says, however, a much stranger breeding project was attempted a century ago when a hybrid between humans and other animals was planned in a bid to supplement the armed forces to create a perfect, quote, factory for transplant organs. It says in the 1920s, Soviet scientists in Vlad country were ordered by dictator Joseph Stalin to create a hybrid ape man super soldier capable of working under extreme conditions too dangerous for ordinary humans. So this is something out of the sci-fi movies, but this is something that was tried. Now, we would like to assume that because everyone is so civilized now, that nothing like this would ever happen again. But again, the powers of the world and the powers that be, they have ways of getting around silly little human rights laws and different things that people debate and they don't want to ever to happen in life. Playing God and these kind of things, that can be kind of skirted around if you just put the lab somewhere else, right? It says secret documents from the time declassified in the 1990s show that the Kremlin chiefs wanted an unbeatable army of man-apes with immense strength, but with an underdeveloped brain that were resilient and resistant to hunger. And similar efforts are actually ongoing today. It says in 2019, a team of scientists led by Professor Juan Carlos Ipasua Belmonte from the U.S. Salk Institute of Biological Studies reportedly created a human-monkey hybrid which survived for 19 days. Just remember, there were certain people that were knocked off of all platforms for saying something like this, and now this is coming out of pretty much every source possible. It says the 1920s project was led by Ilya Ivanovich Ivanov, a biologist whose life's work centered around the crossbreeding of humans and apes using artificial insemination. The project does not appear to have been successful, but in the 1970s, the emergence of an alleged mutant chimp with eerily human characteristics reawakened the Human-Z idea. Oliver, a performing ape, was reported to have been a human-chimpanzee hybrid, appeared to be much more intelligent than other chips, and had rather less body hair. However, post-mortem testing showed that Oliver had the same genetic makeup as any normal chimpanzee. So this is like a Steve here, okay? Look at this. This is supposedly a human chimpanzee hybrid, and you can see he's got a male pattern baldness. So why is this so fascinating and so scary? Well, I have to say, do most of you think that they are doing this right now? In fact, I'll do a poll. I'm going to turn on the chat box. How many of you think that countries are messing around with this kind of thing today? And I mean like today, 2022, the 10th of the month, right? Press 1 if you think they're still doing this, 2 if you don't, or 3 if you think that they're maybe doing it. Again, 1 if you do, 2 if you don't, and 3 if you maybe think they're doing it. Look at that. Now, think about what we could go in on if we do have a WW3. And again, most of the craziest inventions, including, monkey bat or bat bombs. I don't know if you remember, we covered that a long time ago in WW2. They tested out having explosives tied to little bats or incendiaries. And what they would do is they would drop this container, that special container that held 100 bats. And they had little holes, and the sheath would come off of it as it got closer to the ground, and it would release, and it would essentially catch fire. It would light the incendiaries on fire, and it would send 100 bats in every which direction. And bats naturally go into the kind of crazy depths of wood. They like wood and things like that, and they like small crawl spaces. So it would send a flaming bat into, say, the tops of buildings and into any little crevice. If they could find shadow, they would go into that, and it would catch fire to the building. They actually tested it, and it technically would have worked. Again, we don't know if it was actually used. We know that it was tested, and those are the kind of ideas. If you remember in WW1, they actually dropped knives, just tons and tons of these like crazy dart knives, essentially huge darts, and they dropped them, and they were weighted darts that dropped from the sky. So this doesn't surprise me, but one thing I wonder is, how far have they gone? Do you think that they're cloning? Do you think that they're doing stuff with super soldiers? I'm pretty sure I can 100% say that they have some sort of super soldier, because we know that in the regular kind of, science, they're talking about how they'll be able to alter our genetics and do all of these crazy things. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. This is really creepy. And now there's at least proof of, in 2019, one of these happening. It says that the Xi government was said to be restarting the project, and one of the scientists involved, Dr. Xi Yongzhang, told that the Wenhubua newspaper that he aimed to produce an animal that could speak, while retaining the incredible strength of a chimpanzee. He said that the hybrid humanzees would be used for mining, heavy agricultural work, exploration of dangerous environments such as outer space, and depths of the ocean. So think about that. We're not talking about sending a chimpanzee up in space. We're talking about a chimpanzee that can speak up in space, or putting them in a submarine that we know that will be crushed. So if they can speak, at what point are they human? At what point do we consider them a higher thinking animal? And they're still doing this, even though they're, of course, Xi could probably do this, but wouldn't the world outcry and be pissed off and say, you can't do this, this is playing God? Just like they complained and said, don't do cloning. Cloning is a horrific thing, right? Well, they're going to do all of it. And then we have Elon Musk boasts that his Neuralink brain chips will 100% cure common illnesses. Elon Musk has claimed that he will cure a common and debilitating disease using computer chips hooked to people's brains. In a recent tweet, the billionaire said that this company, Neuralink, will fix tinnitus, a condition that causes ringing in the ears, by 2027. You want to know the most shocking part about this? Is by 2027, Neuralink is going to be a reality, and it's already a reality, but people will have this. This is why when I did the video over on news, I said things are going to change, and they're going to change drastically, and not in a lifetime, but in the next 5 years. In the next 8 years, we're going to see stuff like this. In fact, in the next 5 years, we're going to see things like this. They say by 2024 or 2025, they're going to have the beginnings of space motels. Now, you don't have to believe that, and most of us won't until it happens. But they're saying before 2030, we'll have all these things, and they're not saying it in a science fiction movie like Back to the Future. Remember, Back to the Future, their future scenes of us flying around in cars and everything, that was set in 2015. Obviously, we did not hit the benchmark of most of these science fiction movies, but we got really close. In certain areas, we got way more advanced than they ever thought. But in some areas, we didn't have the infrastructure set up for the technology we actually had. In fact, flying cars, it can be done. In fact, right now, over the last 10 years, with the drone technology as it is, that is something that is going to happen. We're in 22, very soon, they'll have drones that will not be driven. They will be on automatic paths from every place, and basically you will put it into Google, and I guarantee you Google will be a part of it. And you will type it into maps and it will take you to your destination. Instead of Uber driver, that will be a thing of the past. If you're an Uber driver, by the way, I'd definitely go back to school because things won't be around forever, especially gas-powered cars or even electric cars that you drive yourself. This is something that, when people go, oh, yeah, sure, they said that before. Now, they have the government and the infrastructure to tell us why it has to be done. They're telling us all over the world that we have to change things or we're going to destroy our planet. Now, whether you agree with that or not, that doesn't really change what they're going to tell us and what they're going to say and what they're going to do. Well, who was that? Mike that said we won't make it until 2030. Well, there's many people that agree with you. And like I said on the Marfoogle News video, if you haven't gone over and watched that, some of the stuff that we talk about, honestly, is really scary. But at the same time, it's like most of us know that this is going on and we're not closing our eyes and trying to sleep through it. Everybody, you all have friends and family members that really frustrate you because they won't listen, they won't look at anything. When you say do your research, they make fun of it. They go, oh, do your research. Meanwhile, they're literally absorbing all of the information that's just coming out of the junk media. They've even made fun of it in commercials, like say, do your research. They say, oh, you looked it up on one of these websites. And now that they have completely divided and there's zero trust in the opposite side's news, no one will ever see eye to eye. Think about that. If someone on the left doesn't believe in Fox and somebody on the right does not believe in CNN, you're never going to have people see eye to eye because both sources are saying the other source is wrong. And the fact checkers are agreeing with one source and not agreeing with the other, so no matter what one says, it's totally wrong. So then you have somebody that is kind of put down and stepped on. It's caused to make people hate each other. We're being divided, and everything that is going on right now is going to be the great change. As far as Neuralink, this is something that should scare people, but it's not. And people are going to welcome this with open arms. I know many of you won't, but those same people that you talk to and they won't accept anything and they won't take the time to watch a 30-minute piece that will literally change their mind if they actually sat through it. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Like if you were able to, I'm guessing that most of you have certain videos or certain pieces of information that you would love if one of your loved ones would sit down and actually watch it with an open mind, but they won't. You put it on and they just drone out or they talk about something else and you're like, oh, this is that, or I heard about this and didn't they say this on that? Well, I read the Snopes on this. It says that it's not that. Okay, did you read the Snopes? How does it say it's not that? Or does it just say we don't think it is? Elon is now connected with boring holes under our country. He is now involved in boring holes in the back of our brains. He's now involved in boring holes in our atmosphere and going out to space. And he's also involved in our power grid. This guy is involved with our government more than anything, and a lot of people are actually looking to him like he's a hero, or he is humanity's last hope. I'm not exaggerating. People believe he is last hope, and I'm really hoping that he is a hero, and I really hope that he is actually fighting. But what has happened in history and what is repeated time and time again is that it's most likely a show. These are billionaires. These aren't the same kind of people as us. If they want to go to Egypt and fly a helicopter over the Tower of Giza right now, they can do that. They don't have to save up. They don't have to ask their job if they can take a couple days off. They just tell people they're doing it. In fact, they have specialty services for everything they do. For things like that, me and you, we think that, are not possible. Like, oh, it's 7 o'clock. All the laundromats are closed. They don't need that. Somebody will come fetch it, drive it 200 miles if that need be, from the middle of nowhere, and they will come and pick up their laundry, take it, and wash it. And if they need it faster, they'll bring the laundromat in a machine, in a truck to them, wash it, and have it done in an hour. The people that we're talking about can literally have anything done for anything. And when you get up to that much money, when you don't like somebody, that somebody doesn't last on earth. I want that guy taken care of. You think that rich people don't do that? And I'm not talking about rich like has a couple million in the bank. I'm talking about these billionaires. It's not even the 1%. It's like 0.01% that are really running things. And these are the guys who can buy a $2 billion, 800-foot, bigger than the Navy has submarine yacht and still have $298 billion left. Neuralink is going to change everything, and I don't think people realize how big of a deal this is. It is absolutely terrifying. Iceman23, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. You can always write a message there. I appreciate you, Iceman. Nice to see you. And again, I don't believe I've seen that before. Iceman, thank you. And then we have R. Hollis, 47. Thank you for subscribing. Lupno Stemelik, thank you so much for subscribing. Please no senpia. Thank you for subscribing. John Jackson, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the Mafia. Joseph Newhouse, hey, I made a follow-up about the Elon Musk space jellyfish after seeing the new trailer for Avatar 2. Seems like the Neuralink could relate. That's awesome, Joseph. I will check it out. And if you guys haven't checked out Joseph Newhouse, he does bounce off videos off of our channel, and he'll go deeper into stuff that we touch the surface on, and he really does a great job. Christopher Watson, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the Mafia. Amber B. Subaru WRX, what is going on? One of our oldest subscribers here. Thank you so much. It's nice to see you again. JR Pale Horse, another old subscriber. My truck runs on biodiesel made from whale oil. LOL. Well, I don't even know if that will last too long. Jeffrey Nell, thank you for subscribing. Survival Living, thank you for popping in. Looks like before the show even started. Thank you. I was just talking about you with Dex before the show. I wasn't able to super chat last time you were live. Michael Gutierrez, thank you so much. Christine Carr, Spartano Negative, thank you for your support. And then a bunch of new subs. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for joining us. Gino Donofrio, Robert Wingert, Stephen Hines, and Sherry Megular. Thank you so much for joining us, and I appreciate you watching. All right, and then back to the news before we go to Congress to hold first open hearing about UFOs in 50 years. We're going to go over to the phone lines. Remember, the number is 224400-MARF. I do want to say a thank you to Priscilla R. Says, I saw something odd, but can only say it's numbers. Vicky K, thank you. Priscilla R, I'm intrigued. Release the Quacken, thank you. Chewy Weather, Jammer 1, Lacey May, Skyhouse, Yobi, thank you. Over on D-Live, everybody that popped up. And then Spartano Negative, thank you for popping over on both platforms, it looks like there. Tiger Lily, thank you for doing a monthly subscription over on D-Live. Appreciate you. All right, let's get over to the phone. Daryl Calhoun, like that, the alien... the alien emoji there. All right, Dex, while you're getting the phones on, I do want to remind you guys that we haven't shown you in a while, but if you do want to stop being tracked and traced, you can go over to marfooglenews.com/offgrid. Not only do these stop anybody from prying, hacking, or getting into your stuff, or tracking or tracing where you're going, which, again, if you know about geolocational warrants that are now happening, then it might be something you want to look into. But also, these work as a double meaning these can also be Faraday bags. Now, there are several different kinds of bags. My friend Dave actually puts his cell phone in the bag that I gave him, and basically he's off-grid. Once you put your cell phone in, there's no signals going in or out. They also have bags like the duffel bag, which if you just want to throw all your electronics, everything important in there, and protect them, you can do so. Or if you're traveling and you don't want anybody to hack your stuff, you can do so as well. They make a backpack that actually has in each pocket a different bag that protects, like laptop, tablet, cell phone, key fob. All of those things will be not only protected against an EMP or something like that, but it will also be protected against prying eyes. These are extremely high quality. In fact, this is the same company. We used to be EDEC, and when they started out, they were purely doing business, doing it for law enforcement, doing it for evidence bags. Now they have opened up to the public, and now they are doing absolutely amazing stuff. It's the same quality that basically the law enforcement is getting, only it is, again, available to the public now. So again, marfooglenews.com/offgrid. If you use that code Marfoogle, not only will you save, but you'll be helping our show at the same time. All right, Dex, let's get our next caller on, and it looks like you are live.
Good evening.
What is going on? It looks like we have, is this Vicky?
Yeah, hi. This is Vicky.
All right, Vicky, you are live on Marfoogle News. What's going on?
Hi, everybody. I wanted to know if anybody remembers, or because I have not heard this on your show yet, and I listen every night, is about 2.5 to 2 years ago, I had several friends who were in the National Guard, and they went over to a country, and I'm like, wait a minute, is Romania? And I'm like, what? And I'm like, why are you going there? They usually go state to state. Never, it's been a little while, but don't remember anybody going to a foreign country, let alone, it seems weird now, but not. It was Romania. I just wonder why I hadn't heard anybody else talk about it.
I'm a little confused. So who is going to Romania?
I had several friends 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, during their 2 week deployment that they do once a year, and they went over to Romania, and I'm like, how come I haven't heard anybody else talk about this? It was kind of, especially in the past month and a half even. We had our military over there. It was National Guard, Army. Go over 2.5 years ago, because I had friends that were like, we don't want to go, but yeah, we're gonna miss everybody.
Okay, so Vicky, did I talk to you before? Or did I talk to somebody else about Romania? How Romania has some sort of reason why people would go there if SHTF happened? Is that right? And chat, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
That wasn't me, but yeah, it wasn't me. But I just find it, and I must have missed that one. But yeah, the past couple of days have been really bothering me. I'm like, wait a minute, 2.5 years ago, I had friends that had to do their 2 week National Guard deal, and it was like, we're going to Romania. I'm like, what? Now, and it's been bugging me. I was just like, this is really bugging me. So I thought I'd call you and say, is it bugging you too?
Well, Vicky, it's kind of weird because I'm feeling like there was a place in Romania that was important. We've been talking about it because now all of these very, very elites are buying their way into countries and buying dual citizenship. So that is very odd.
Oh, yeah. I just heard, I think, a little bit of that, a clip on that. I've been moving, so been kind of dashing back and forth between listening to your show and moving. But I just been really bugging me. It's like, but wait a minute, why didn't anybody say anything even a year ago, or what are we doing over there even then? It didn't click with me at all.
Well, maybe they were setting up for what was to come. Right.
Yeah.
Now, right now now it would make sense, but back then not so much. Maybe they were hardening those
Yeah.
states and they knew what was coming.
I don't know. I mean, I can't. But yeah, my sense of logic tells me that. But, I don't know.
So, and by
Also, I wanted to.
No, go
Yes,
ahead.
sir.
I just want to explain to people. Somebody was confused about what. Basically, she said her friends went for one of their trainings, and they sent for the National Guard. They sent them to Romania, and she felt that was kind of weird because you never really hear about that. I actually have not heard about that, so that is curious.
Yeah, and then I had one more friend, another person go to South Korea. Well, I didn't really find that as bizarre as Romania. And for their 2 weeks, it was like, go party. But
Well, the one thing
yeah,
is different parts of the world, we do have a lot of different partnerships with different people. So
yeah,
South Korea, we do a lot of stuff with, and especially because of
yeah,
NK,
right.
we do.
So that didn't send off any alarms, though, or any, bells or anything. But this did, all of a sudden, just kept coming back up. And I kept saying, no, yeah, well, maybe everybody's already knows it, and I missed that part. Everybody knows it. But I thought it was weird then. Extremely, from anything I'd ever known. And then have it all start tumbling down the way it did, and then all of a sudden we're there. Hello.
Well, Vicky, again, I will definitely look into the Romania thing because honestly, I kind of remember something like that, and I'll probably mention it tomorrow and see if that was what I was. I don't know if I'm misremembering or what. But Vicky, thank you so much for calling. I appreciate you and thanks for heading us up.
Thank you, and everybody take care. Dexmeister, thank you for the hookup, and everybody enjoy.
All right. Well, thank you so much. You have a wonderful night. God bless. That was Vicky and from Kansas. No, some people are saying that Gone Girl 777. That's Pam, but I don't think that was Gone Girl. No. But similar. I could see why somebody would think that. GG777 has a channel you can compare. And then Josh Roberts, what's going on? Which I hope she's doing well. Dexmeister, yeah, MO3. Hey, Stephen McMahon, thank you so much for popping in. Susan Donahue, nice to see you. It's so lovely to have you here. So cell phone free, that was actually Vicky. Now I don't know if I don't think, yeah, if Gone Girl called in, she would just be Gone Girl. She has before, I believe, and she's never said that. So, all right, and then we have, again, an open line on the back end. If you do want to call in, if you're a first-time caller, if you've seen something strange, if you know someone who has information, if you know 100% something is about to happen, give us a call, 2244-00-MARF. Again, that is 2244-00-6273. Now, remember, once you get to our phone tree, press option 4. Someone the other day said, basically said, they said, oh yeah, I called 35 times and I was never acknowledged. Just so you guys know, or that Dex never acknowledged that they called. We don't have a caller ID until you actually get through to the line. It's basically the same as calling a radio show. If it's ringing and stuff like that, there's not like it's not a cell phone. It's a system. It's an actual call-in system. So there's no way we know you're calling 35 times. If there's 2 people already on the phone, then that third line, it will just keep ringing until that second line is free. So that does happen. But other people say, I've been trying for months to get on. I know for a fact that, Joseph Newhouse and others, they usually grab 2 phones. They call on back. Same way you call into a radio show. I mean, that's honestly the best way I can compare it. Pretty much anybody that wants to get in can get in. You just have to know. A lot of people will say that because they're, 45 minutes into the show, they start to call. He usually lines up the callers in the first 20 minutes. people fill up the lines and we fill up the spots. So make sure to call right when I tweet. If I tweet out a tweet saying, hey, I'm going live, that's when you should probably start. Or the best time, since we're live, is after we start our first news article after Dex is done. Because if he's talking with me on the show, he's not there to answer the call. All right, and then Congress is to hold this first open hearing about UFOs in 50 years. Which, by the way, if you guys get a chance, I guess I didn't realize he was going live at the same time. I only saw it right before when I tweeted out. But Tyler, it was going to do some sort of live thing either tonight or later tonight. And I'm guessing that this is something that he would be talking about. If you guys haven't checked out Tyler from Secure Team, make sure to go say hi. Tell them the Foogle fam sent you. Again, he doesn't go live very often. So I did not know that he was going live. Otherwise, I would have popped over there and said hi. He said he would eventually try to make it over here. I know that he's a busy guy. I know because, I know how hard it is to make appearances, and it's just a pain in the butt. So, and then it says 2 Pentagon officials will testify at a hearing about UFOs next week. Motherboard explores UFOs, UFO cultures, and the paranormal. A House subcommittee will hold a hearing next week about the UFOs, and it will be the first open congressional hearing about UFOs in more than 50 years. Congress hasn't held a public hearing on identified aerial phenomenons in over 50 years, which is crazy. I'm guessing so we did at one point. It says India tweeted Tuesday morning, that will change next week when I lead a hearing in House at House Intel on this topic and the national security risk it poses. Americans need to know more about these unexplained occurrences. So if you do believe that they're about to do some sort of Fantastic Freddy or come out with some fake invasion, it's definitely about to kick up a notch. I will definitely be watching this congressional hearing to see what they're going to say, what is going to pop out, who is going to be speaking. This is definitely very interesting stuff. Let me know in the chat. Press 1 if you are going to be watching it as well. Press 2 if you won't be, and press 3 if you would like us to cover it. That would be appreciated. I can go back and look later and see how much interest there is in that subject. I'll turn on the chat so everybody can pop their answer in. 1 if you will be watching it, 2 if you won't, and 3 if you would like us to cover it. And then we have Xi. His country slams State Department changes to website detailing Taiwan relations, distancing Taipei from Beijing. So we have talked about all of the little kind of things that have popped open and happened in between, all of the different kind of, will kind of give credence that by us, I mean the U.S. will say Taiwan is a country, or we'll tweet something and then our officials will actually retract it really quickly and say, oh, we didn't mean to, and sorry, Xi, and we didn't mean to do that. Taiwan's not a country. We're all about the one China policy and stuff. But then at the next intersection, they are helping them and giving them military gear. The same kind of thing with the whole Vlad and UKR. The other countries are saying, hey, do not interfere whatsoever. They're like, we're just going to interfere a little bit. We're going to interfere a lot. We're going to send them through $30 billion in the systems and the locations for your ships. Just a little bit. We're going to cross every red line you have. Which, again, if you're like pro-America, it's like, hell yeah. We, red line, red schmine, right? But at the same time, we do know that there are people in Congress in both of these areas that want to start a conflict with Xi, with Vlad. There are warmongers. I think less of a thing is a fearmonger, unless it's, I get what fearmongering actually is, which, again, is I think it mostly out of control, like controls people. But as far as warmongering, that exists. There are people on this planet, and especially people in very high places, that want to have a WW3. They think of it as a a control structure, redistribution. And it says Beijing on Tuesday slammed the U.S. for changes the State Department made on its website regarding Washington-Taipei ties that appeared to distance the island from mainland. It says, quote, "This kind of political manipulation on Taiwan question is an attempt to change the status quo in the Taiwan Strait and will inevitably stir up a fire that only burns the U.S." How many of you are sick of these analogy threats? Can they just say we're gonna boom boom Seattle, or we're gonna just take out New York? We're going to nuke and take people out in New York. Instead of these there will be fire and brimstone for those of you that go against this. Thou shall not pass this red line, or something very bad will happen eventually. It's because they're not straight up. It's like the passive-aggressive, super aggro dude, right? I don't want them to do any of that, but again, it's like all of these analogy threats that we cover. It's like this is why nobody is actually taking anything seriously. It's because there's constant saber rattling. That saber rattling, I wonder, because I believe some people do take it seriously. I'm sure we don't know. We don't know which ones of these threats are real. That they're actually doing emergency meetings and saying, hey, we know that they mean this one, or they have gear getting up, or they're practicing to invade here or that, this or that. So I guess it's more to who it's the public doesn't know. It's kind of like doing an inside joke where only you and a couple friends know, but everybody else is like, huh? The public is constantly like, huh? They're saying these things. Vlad is the worst with it, though. We will be hard and fast with stuff that the world has never seen, and he's bad now. Kim Jong-un is really bad too. Him and T-Man had almost a hilarious kind of back and forth. What do you think about it? Do you think that they are getting ready for something? U.S. intelligence officials warn Xi is working hard to be able to take over Taiwan militarily. Where's Sherlock? Sherlock, are you there? No, it's here. WW3. What a lovely time we live in. The U.S. intelligence community believes that Xi is actively attempting to build a military capable of taking over Taiwan, even in the face of U.S. support for the island, top U.S. intelligence officials told Congress Tuesday. So by the way, what we've been telling you for 3 years, that is what top intelligence officials are now saying. The people in Congress, they need somebody, these top intelligence, which says intelligent in the name. They need the top intelligence to tell them this. Even though they know that they've been building massive silos, that they are now the largest Navy over a couple years. They went from being like the 4th or 5th Navy to the largest Navy. So they're mass producing. To go from behind to ahead of the U.S. in largest Navy, that takes mass production, like you are producing nonstop to be the number one in something. And now you'll hear it here first because nobody's covering it yet. In 2 years from now, the Congress will be saying, oh, now they have the largest Air Force. They have the largest manpower. They have the largest this. The Air Force, we know, they're mass producing planes undercover, under the guise of satellite shielded domes, and they're making secret weapons, and they are teaming up with Vlad to do stuff in space without us. and everybody's just now figuring it out. Even if you don't believe it and they're all in a show together, just realize what is being put in the history books and look at what they are setting this up for. This is all of the same stuff we saw before WW2. This is all the same stuff we saw before WW1. They had to prepare for years before all of these. The preparing has been done. The money has gone into where it needs to go. Vlad put a huge chunk. In fact, his GDP is smaller than that of just New York. But yet they have taken such a huge portion of that, like 1/3 of their entire GDP goes into their military, to where they are here and here with the U.S., right? And they're not here, but they're here. But they also have nukes. So does China. It says the threat to Taiwan between now and, again, crazy, scary date, 2030, is acute. Well, I don't think it's very cute at all. I added the echo for effect. If you didn't get that. 224400 Marf, give us your opinion. Call in if you have something strange you've seen, you have video of something crazy, or if you have information that no one knows, give us a call at 224400 Marf. Before we talk about crucial NATO decisions expected in Finland and Sweden this week, Dex is going to be getting the phones together, and it looks like we have, let's see here. So he'll be trying to get, okay, so that caller is they're trying to get them on. One caller just dropped. Okay, 224400 Marf. It looks like somebody's having technical difficulties, so we'll go back to that. I'll go to this article here, and before I go into that, just a reminder, if you do not have any kind of generator or any kind of backup for if the power goes down, I'd highly recommend an Energy solar generator. Energy is actually what our entire studio is running off of right now. Both of my power bars, all of my music gear, and all 3 of my lights are all running off of this. Well, actually, many LED lights as well, but they take almost nothing. Everything is powered by Energy here. And again, that is because we lost about 5 or 6 shows last year due to my power going out. I'm in a bad area. So besides like the end of the world, people should have generators. The reason why is almost every one of you has lost power at one point or another. Some of you have even gone to hotels or gone somewhere else. Really, the greatest part about these generators is, one, you don't actually have to have solar panels to charge them. If you do have power, you can keep this as a power bank and you can plug it into the wall. You can even get their speed charger that can charge it in about 4 hours from a regular wall charge. It will basically double speed charge it. But then you'll have power enough to, say, keep a part of your house warm and keep yourself entertained and keep yourself through. But the greatest part about this is, again, you can add solar panels and you can also add batteries. So normally when you buy a solar generator, they are built in. And when the battery that is built in degrades or dies after 10 years, you are stuck buying an entire other one. This you can actually stack. The batteries are stackable and they can go side by side. You could actually make a wall up to 96 batteries with one base unit. And for the first time ever, they are doing a discount on the base unit of $100 off. This is this is such a coveted solar generator that there has been a waiting list for the entire time we've worked with them. That waiting list just got shorter, and again, you would want to get on it sooner than later. The best part about a solar generator is it is silent. Nobody from 2 blocks away is going to hear you have it. And again, it can be put in your house. There is no harmful or deadly gases coming out of it that you just won't wake up from. Gas is great, but also gas will be extremely hard to attain if the gas pumps are not pumping. So keep that in mind. You can go to marfooglenews.com/energy, INERGY, and that will automatically, it should fill in all of the things as far as like if you want us to get credit, use that link. There are also sales on the actual kits. I believe up to $150 off on the kits. So make sure to go check that out as well. It's one of the most durable and one of the most versatile systems out there. And again, if you have a bigger house or this or that, and you need more power or more time, then you can add batteries. It's portable and it is amazing. All right, thank you guys. And looks like Lisa and others are putting that link in the chat as well. If you lose that, thank you everybody that does support us through products like this. Again, not only do we believe in it, we use it. It is an amazing, amazing product. All right. It looks like we have Brad, first-time caller, talking about the grand solar minimum and how it's affecting weather and food supply. Calling from Maryland. Brad, you're live on Marfoogle News.
Adam, how you doing?
I'm doing...
Pleasure to be here, man.
Doing great. What's going on?
Hey, I just wanted to bring it up. I'm fairly new to the channel. I didn't know if you guys ever delved into the grand solar minimum and what's happening with that, or if you're familiar with it.
Yeah, we've covered a ton of it. Are you familiar with the new cycle, the solar cycle 25?
Yeah, well, I feel like, when you delve into that, that part of it being within this cycle period, the 200, 400 year cycle, where you get into these cold periods, where and you look back through history of these time periods where there's been the dynasties have fallen, all of the dynasties have fallen during these periods. It's like a secular cycle of these dynasties that have fallen as well. So, and Russia being in the part of where they are within the world, and where how the poles are kind of shifting towards them, and everything is kind of moving in their direction. It's going to say that these dynasties are going to start to fall. So they're trying to grab as much power, around the world as they can. Yeah. And it all goes back to the food supply as well. With the food supply being dwindling down from with the way the cold is affecting everything with the food growth in the world.
Well, yeah, and as far as food supply goes, we've covered a lot of the different things that have been going on with farming and logistics. So obviously logistics is a big part of it right now. But before that, the last 2 years, we've covered all of the crazy weather events and everything else that has happened and essentially knocked out family farmers. And even the family farmers that weren't knocked out, they were bought out by people like Gates, who bought up all sorts of farmland and took people out. It's like, is he continuing those farms? Is he owning it and running farms? I highly doubt it.
Well, they're running the farms. I mean, that's actually when you look at their numbers, when you look at Gates' numbers on the farming, they're actually making a pretty good return on their farms. But what they're doing, they're also, there is that control. I mean, you control the food, you control the population. You control the food it controls everybody. It's and I think that's what the powers that be are trying to do. They're trying to get as much power as they can within this system, because I mean, they're with the astrophysicists that I've looked at and have studied a little bit of, they were talking, their numbers were by like 2028, they're talking like between 20 and 40% food growth around the world. And when you look at what's the movement of what the bigger players are doing, they're trying to. I think that they are going to be able to work those numbers out a little bit better. But who knows? Who knows? But I think that's just, there's so much more to it than what we're being told.
No. So if we're going off of what they are telling us, and even the stuff that the scientists are saying quietly and warning people and warning their families, They're saying that in not 40, 50 years, we're going to start running out of food, that it's like now, like we are in this zone where things are going to crap. Now, some people think that that's manufactured, this and that. I guess the point I'm making is, even if it is, that means it's still it's there, and it's still we're going to see the effects of it. If they control the logistical everything, if they control the companies and everything else, guess what? The shelves are still going to be empty. The farms are not going to be producing. The food isn't going to be there. So what is it meant to do? Or is it meant to get us all into like a cycle where we're all kind of we can't find work, so then all of a sudden all these people are turning to welfare and a guaranteed income like Elon Musk talks about? You know, your best bet is a guaranteed income. Basically saying we should all be on like Section 8.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think, I mean, it boggles my mind to think that, and the proof is showing that they are manipulating it as well. They're tearing it down as well, but the nature's doing a good job of it as by itself. You know what I mean? You know, they're just adding to it, you know, which is making it even worse. And it just boggles my mind to think that, you know, like, but it's at the same time, nature itself, if you look at just what nature's doing without any of the geoengineering stuff, but with, you know, with what nature's doing and its patterns, you know, it shows that the food growth itself is just going to dwindle from that. And within these time periods, like if you look back, you remember back in 1815, or like when the snow didn't melt, where the snow didn't melt all summer.
Yeah.
Did you ever heard about that?
Boy, are you?
Or like when you look at
the year that everything was crazy.
So the year that the snow didn't melt. So each one of these grand solar minimum events, which you have it's a 200-year pattern. So you have 200, 400, you know, it goes on and on and on. But within these periods, they've talked about how there's been a VEI 7 volcano in each one of these events as well. You know, they've had it mapped out where there's been these VEI 7, which then you get the ash that then covers there. So like when you looked at the map of when this, like all summer in 1815, the snow didn't melt. You looked at the map, it like went straight through California, straight across the United States, and kind of like did this little hump like over top of Maryland. And so all of that land out there where the food would have been growing, you know, it's like, I kind of look at that map as where, and then you see it today. I mean, you see it on the map now, like how far the cold's going down. You know, the cold's going down and killing out the crops, way further down. We get all these winter crops that are supposed to be good, like, you know, you get these nice pretty days that are happening, and then the next thing you know, we have this, you know, cold frost that comes over and knocks it out. You know, kills the food off.
Well, we're seeing it all over the planet. Can I ask, by the way, how did you find my channel if you're newer? Did you was I suggested, or how did you find us? Was somebody did somebody tell you?
I watched when that group you guys get together, like 5 or 6 of you guys.
Oh, with Global Witness?
Yeah, with Global Witness. Yeah.
That was a really cool.
Which I only watch Global Witness a little bit here and there, but when I saw everybody getting together, I was like, it could be a pretty good group.
Well, we're gonna do that again. It was really fun. It was an honor to be there because there was just a lot of cool people and on and off camera. I found Donut Factory through him. If you guys haven't found out, it's so crazy because don't you agree that like you'll see somebody on a panel like that, they'll have, you know, a following and most everybody in that niche will know about them, but it's like you've never heard of them. The algorithm has never shown you this person, even though it's by definition, the Google algorithm, if you're typing in this kind of stuff, it should serve you that kind of content, and you should already know about this long ago, but yet it's like hidden. Isn't that weird? That
yeah.
There's somebody that they even work together and it won't show you those people. Then again, if
right.
Sometimes they'll say, oh, you know, Global Witness viewers also watch this. So it'll do it when it wants to, but it won't do it when it needs to happen. Well, I
don't get much of. I don't get much of anybody that I used to watch anymore. I mean, they're all like, it's either, and what, you know, they stopped sending me the stuff, and then you kind of forget about it after a while, you know? And then eventually you come back across it and be like, oh yeah, I used to really like watching that.
Yeah,
you guys or whatever.
It's hard when there's 2 billion channels on YouTube. 2 billion. That's 1/8 of the planet, or I'm sorry, 1/4 of the planet has, or that many channels, right? There's 2 billion channels.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy to think about the ones that we do watch. Well, thank you for calling in, Brad. And yeah, we definitely will be talking about the solar minimum. We have Wages World. He follows all the sun events. And personally, I think that we're in for a huge sun event here soon. I mean, we're overdue for another Carrington level event. That's just a fact.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen.
Well, it will. Hopefully we'll be prepared by then. Hopefully the world will have a different kind of grid system, and it won't be an issue. But again,
yeah.
Thank you for calling in, Brad. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, and welcome to Marfia. Make sure to say hi to Brad once he pops back into chat. By the way, somebody said that somebody said, oh, the wait time for an energy is July, and said that that's far too late. The actual wait for an energy was up to 4 or 5 months. It is actually down to 2 months. So right now it is the 5th month. So basically the wait is 2 months for those. And that's something, unfortunately, they can't actually do anything about. These are all made, basically, essentially there are a lot of the parts that are handmade. So that generator is extremely high quality. I would say too late would be like December, because at this point, people are going to need generators for winter. As far as getting it in the middle of the summer, July, for somebody in California, I could see that being too late. I don't know when your guys' really hot season starts, but people in California are going to need it by July because there may be rolling blackouts, and that's going to be bad. But for somebody in the Midwest, if you can get your generator by July, that would be really awesome. Again, but that's because there are chips. It's not even their issue, and that's the people above, right? The chips that are going into every piece of electronics, that is the weight. There are weights for some electronics that you probably don't even realize. Dex's friend owns a car stereo business. Car stereos are essentially like, 2 months, 4 months, 7 months, 8 months backed up because of those little chips. There are entire car manufacturers who are shut down right now because they can't get those chips. Those chips that are coming from Taiwan mostly are so backed up and so coveted that things like that and things like the parts that are made in G-land, that they're only made in G-land, those are actually harder to find. They're harder to get, and they're taking forever. So that wait time of 2 months, I would get it while it is 2 months, because if you want to get one of the best solar generators out there, here's the thing: if you just go grab whatever's available, and that's what most people are going to do, you're going to get something that's not going to last as long. You're going to get something that has all sorts of downsides and not every single upside. That's why I would say to go with an energy instead of going with whatever is available on Prime. That's what most people do. They'll end up spending close to the same amount, going to Prime, getting whatever, and then being like, oh, crap, I don't get this, I don't get that, I can't do this, I can't do that. And then when the power actually goes out, you're like, oh, it broke. So I would go with quality on that, because it is something, it's an investment, and especially with the energy, that's something you could keep. It's made like it, stuff used to be. I know I'll probably keep my energy for 50 years. If you can always buy new batteries. That's the coolest part. So that's one thing I think of, is the quality of how it's manufactured is like toasters. Do you remember when toasters were? I know people. I know one of my friend Gail. He has a 60-year-old toaster. It literally still works. He still uses it on a daily basis. But you know what companies thought? They go, well, if we make this toaster out of metal and everything is high quality, then we only sell one toaster. If we make it so it has plastic and the parts burn out or the chip only lasts this long, one, we can go and do it cheaper. But two, it's going to burn out and they're going to need to buy another one. Even the metal toasters you buy today, they're not quality. Like it's not the same. They last like 5, 6, 10 years, but they know they want you to come back and buy another one. That's the opposite of an energy. Those things are they are bricks. All right, and then crucial NATO decisions expected in Finland, Sweden this week. And we talked about this before all of this was talked about. If you don't know the scenario here, countries that are historically neutral, that would never join NATO, are now joining NATO because of the big bad wolf in Vlad country. It says to join or not to join. The NATO question is coming to a head this week in Finland and Sweden, of all places, where Vlad's invasion of UKR has shattered the long-held belief that remaining outside the military alliance was the best way to avoid trouble with their giant neighbor. It says if Finland's president and the governing social democrats in both countries come out in favor of a session in the next few days, NATO could soon add 2 members right on Vlad's doorstep. This is what Vlad didn't want, and if you look at both sides of the story, and it's not saying Vlad's a good guy or anything, but a lot of people now do see Vlad's side. Essentially, every country bordering him is now NATO, which is allied countries, which all work together. So think about if Vlad ended up making partnerships with Canada and Mexico, and they're part of the Vladstock 99 or whatever. They've got this Vlado, okay? And they end up putting missiles and military and bases right in Mexico and right in Canada. That's what it would be. That's what it'd be like at least, right? There's supposed to be loops that they have to jump through to put missiles or to put weapons or whatever. But think about if Vlad had nukes right there at the border of Mexico. There is a side there. Most people know all about this. But again, you don't even get another side of the media. You can't see their media now. And there's a disinfo board, which again, we put stuff in web-only content tonight. You need to go over and see that. It's more perilous than you think. There's stuff like that. This is what I said on Twitter. I said, the first conflict is the information conflict. That's what happens. The fact that they have cut off media from an entire country, especially a nuclear power, that says something. That is a huge sign that we have begun a conflict with that country. Unless it's all a show, which again it could be. Who knows? But when you cut off the information coming out of an entire country, and by the way, don't forget, we got a lot of information from them as far as like all the stuff that mainstream was covering. A lot of information came out of Vlad country. Scientific information, all sorts of, there's a lot of there's American citizens there. There's people from all over the world in Russia. Think about that. I would say that they're a diverse country as well. So it would be as if all American media was cut from there. I don't know what they have done. I know that they said it was illegal for them to. We covered when Vlad said that if you share fake news, you can get 15 years in prison or something. I know that, but have they actually stopped like all of like YouTube and videos? Can you watch this in there? I don't know. I don't think you can. So they could be doing the same thing. But if they make, if they are, that's a huge deal. Vlad is going to be pissed. That's why some people think that there is something coming very soon. The fact that Sweden and Finland are about to join NATO, and this is for real, that is a scary, scary thought. Nana Deborah, thank you for being here. Survival Living, thank you again for also doing a PayPal this week. Brenda L, I appreciate you. Amanda B, Cheryl W, Linda P, thank you so much. Katie W says, last May I bought my best friend a birthday shout out, and I would like to do it again. Could you please wish Danny a happy 40th birthday? Been friends with her for 30 years and can't imagine my life without her. So happy birthday with love from Katie. So Danny, happy 40th from the entire Marfoogle family. And I'm sure Chad is going to say happy birthday, Danny, as well, because that's how we roll. Joanna H, Karen W, Eddie K, Krista J, thank you. And I'll turn on the chat just in case anybody does say happy birthday, Danny, with an I. D-A-N-I. Thank you so much. And then Dawn B, thank you so much. Kathy H says, always love the show. And Adam, Dex, and the mods, also the shoutro and all of the information and news on here. Hey, thank you, and I appreciate that, Kathy. Thank you so much. And then Collegiate Entrepreneurs, Jennifer P. and Brent O. Thank you, everybody. Gone Girl 777 and Smackin' Art Studio, special shout-out. Thank you so much for your support this month. And same with Ilea. You know you don't have to do that, and I thank you. See, this is cool. So everybody's saying happy birthday to Danny. All right, and then Mystery Man seen with Vlad on Victory Day sparks secession rumors. Now, remember the number to call in is 224-400-MARF. If you do want to get in, make sure to get in soon. Let's see here. And then, by the way, Mark is on the line. Oh, man. Okay. No way. Okay. So we have a great caller coming up here. Please, I hope we don't lose Mark, because that's sounds good. Mystery Man seen with Putin sparks the secession rumors. Rumors about a potential replacement for Vladian president were sparked due to his actions during the Victory Day parade on May 9th. It says video of Vlad speaking to a man during the parade have begun circulating on social media, with some speculating that this man would one day replace the leader. UKR race driver Igor Shushko shared the clip, which it says he claimed that the man Vlad was speaking to was named Dmitry Kololev. It says the young man with whom Vlad had a long and frank conversation on Red Square is the head of the Presidential Administration Department. Dmitry Kovalev, unconfirmed at this time, rumors immediately began to swirl that he could be Vlad's hand-picked successor. The young man with whom Vlad had a long and frank conversation with is again not confirmed to be the person he picked. But again, this is all kind of thrown out there. They swirl around these rumors. They've said he's got cancer. They say that he may be dying. They said that he may have hemorrhoids. I don't know. I've heard everything at this point. So he may be, crazy. And then he's dementia. They said he's getting early onset dementia. And he had a Bernie Sanders moment where he had a little blanket on the bench, which isn't a very Vlad thing to do. They're like, tough, I wrestle bear in Siberia. I don't use blanket. He probably did actually wrestle a bear in Siberia. So it's just not very Vlad. And Prep Rebel from Canada, thanks for your massive support. Davidson Prasad, welcome. Victory, welcome. Neil Weber, welcome. Valak, thank you. 180, thank you for subscribing. Charlotte Walls, Catalyst 25, Iceman, again. Hillock 6, thanks. I appreciate you. What do you guys think? Do you think he's the replacement? I don't think so. And then Vlad pummels vital port of Odessa, targeting supply lines. Dex, we've been following this very closely as far as what has been going on. And again, it looks like the U.S. has a whole lot to do with pretty much everything serious that has been going on. Do you think that, again, they're targeting these supply lines? Do you think that there's going to be an event in the next couple of days that's kind of the response to this?
Well, the more we keep getting involved, even indirectly, the more, they keep pounding their fists, so to speak, against us and what we're doing. So it definitely seems like they've focused their efforts, at least in what's being reported, on the western areas and the seaport areas, which is what we're talking about right now, and the areas where they have water access. And we know that Vlad country wants to they have more supporters, so to speak, in the eastern area of UKR. They have more, and they probably have more interest in the water ports along that area as well. So it's not, unlikely that we'll continue to see this skirmish happen there for a while.
Northern Star says, I'm so disgusted with the country I live in, I wish another country would take me. Well, if you have $600,000, you can always buy citizenship somewhere else. Now, let's see here. The United Circle, the question, Dex Headroom. Yeah, he sounded a little computer there. And that's not our issue. We had it yesterday and today. It is an issue with Zoom. I don't get what's going on with that, but it's also the callers. Unfortunately, it's nothing too crazy. The Borg is back. Deep State of Mind. No, the disruption is it's in my end too. I have to hear that. In fact, that's why I've turned it down a couple times, because it's actually super loud in my ears. It's a live show. That's the thing I would have to say. Heather Langager looks like it's a little behind. Says my mother's toaster is 35 years old. That's what I'm talking about. There's a lot of stuff. This is my screen name, and BOD is in the house. Hey, guys. Nice to see you. I got to talk to you guys. Love you guys. Thank you for being here. Somebody said, Vlad said it, or not Vlad. Vault said it is solar weather. Let's get Mark on. Mark, it seems like, has an interesting call here. Talking about the first person to catch the bird cough. And looks like Mark is coming on now. If you haven't already, if you want to protect yourself against EMP, go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP. This device can actually protect against all three phases of an EMP. It can also protect you against solar flares like what we have been speaking of this show. As far as a Carrington level event, this can ground the signal of that in 500 trillionths of a second before it can fry your car, your home, your boat, your RV, your motorcycles. They make a device for pretty much everything, including your solar generator. You can get one that's specifically made for the energy generator, and you can get one for your gas power generator, and you can get one for your ham radio. If you want to be fully prepared for any kind of EMP or CME event, then you would go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP. You'll get $50 off per device, and you're going to get one of the baddest breakers out there. This is the Surge Protector from hell. This thing is absolutely insane. It is, again, Keystone tested, used by agencies like DOD, DHS, and, of course, the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. So if they're using it to protect themselves, why aren't we? Nobody's going to save you when an emergency happens. No one's going to say, hey, we're going to put this on and protect your car for you. Not going to happen. marfooglenews.com/EMP. All right, let's get Mark on the phone, and then we're going to talk about Vlad could go nuclear if he thinks Vlad is losing UKR conflict or his regime is under threat, U.S. intelligence chief says. Mark is coming in now. It looks like Mark is going to be talking about the bird cough, and especially, basically, they're talking about how Robert Redfield, I think, or Fred Redfield, the ex-cat director, said that the bird to human would be the next CV.
Adam, can you hear me?
Mark is live.
Yes, I can. What's going on?
Adam, dude, first of all, love you, man. Love the Fugle fam. And what you were saying about the water, I have been stuck in a flash flood in a canyon that I was hiking through, and it is super important to have some sort of way to filter your water. Absolutely. If you're out in the wilderness, the iodine pills are great, but if you're at home, you can collect rainwater and filter it with the stuff that you guys go through. So thank you for putting that. And that's the thing.
Yeah, the
Lexapure.
Lexapure. I wonder if you could actually, and I don't think you can or you're supposed to. By the way, some places they say it's illegal to collect rainwater, and that says something. I want to say parts of California, but the Lexapure has that big open top. I wonder if you could just, I don't know, would it technically work if you just collected rainwater in that and it would gravity feed through it and filter it? I don't know, but
absolutely.
During a storm, just put that thing out there.
But you're right. In some places, it's illegal to collect your own rainwater, which is crazy.
It's scary.
Like, what? This is my property. Can I not collect the rainwater on my own property?
Well, they probably paid to create the stuff that's fallen out. So they're like, well, we own the rain, right?
Right. We own the rights to that runoff. Yep.
So
anyway, yeah, I'm here in Colorado, and I remembered you guys running the story about the bird thing happening to the first human, and you didn't get quite all the information there that I did, and so it turns out that it was a person who was incarcerated, and he's part of like a work release program, and he was working at a bird farm, and that's how he got it, is with working with that. And they tested 20 people who were not inmates that were in contact with him when he got it, and none of them got it. So according to the information that I've got here in Colorado, it doesn't spread real easily, thankfully.
So as far as no, and it shouldn't. So why is the former director and why is Gates saying that this will be the thing that really, basically takes us all out? This is going to be the next CV. That's what they're saying. And not exactly this exact one. This is H5N1. I guess we can call it that, H5N1. Now, this, as far as, it's weird that the guy got it in prison of all places or on his work release. It's just like, is there going to be something new? Is there going to be something that we haven't seen yet? That's what I really wonder.
Yeah, me too, which is creepy because obviously this, and actually while I was waiting to get online with you, I was looking it up, and the Denver Zoo has closed all of its bird exhibits because of this. And so it's going through the birds really well. But as far as we know, this is the only case that a human has got it. And so that doesn't seem like it's highly invasive, And I'm wondering too, like, why the heck is he saying that? What, did they have something planned? If this is not extremely contagious to humans, then why is the media trying to make a scare out of it,
Well, even if they're not making a scare out of it, what if they're not scaring enough? Like, it's not just Denver Zoo. I think it's more than that. We saw that. I want to say, Dex, and you can chime in too. Wasn't there other zoos around the country that closed down their bird exhibits? I want to say like ours
Yeah, I
closed
think
for a
it
minute.
was standard. Yeah, I think it was standard that a lot of them were pulling the birds, at least pulling them out of view and trying to isolate them.
I want to say the Seattle, the Woodland Park Zoo. There is a loop that you go through, and you can walk into the bird cage, and then there's an area where they have a net above instead of a cage, and it's really you're walking in their kind of environment. That was like completely closed for a few days. I only know because I went 2 days in a row with my kids and then my kids and their friends, and it was like, why is this closed? They're all right there. Like there's no maintenance to it. You just walk through a path. There was no, and they don't close it down for feeding or anything like that. So I thought that was kind of odd. And that was right the day before all of this went down. And I was thinking, that's weird. So,
wow.
So I just wonder, I wonder if it's bigger than they say or smaller than they say. Like they're pushing something out of nothing, trying to make us afraid. But one thing I've noticed since this came out, have you noticed that a lot of people are covering up again? Like a lot. At least here they are.
Oh yeah, I work at I manage a customer service store, and so I see at least every third person come in wearing a mask still. So yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's just it's like it's popping up all. I had to check, and I didn't know. I'm like, was there some sort of emergency order or something that I missed? Because somebody said in chat, Jay Inslee's a freak, like an actual freak. Yes, I agree with you. But yeah, my governor is like, he'll just like, it seems like they've just thrown stuff out there, and I'm like, what? And we're the example for the entire country, right? So,
oh yeah,
something is off. And now they say that the next one, they very well could change a whole lot more laws. It's almost like, the first one, this isn't the big one. The big one will actually take people out, and they'll be able to change whatever they need out of safety.
Exactly. Yep. And so let's say even if this one doesn't spread to humans, if it spreads to all of our food sources, then the price of chicken, like good chicken that's not infected, is going to go through the roof or just deplete completely.
Well, we'll see. Poultry and all the meat and everything else, it's already skyrocketed. And in some places, it's upwards of 60 to 75% up, which is like unbelievable. So if a chicken was, a small piece of chicken was $3, it's up to $10. I mean, like, just an unbelievable, the same price as steak. So it's already happening. Like I said, day by day, it's like in slow-mo. But it's going so fast because they're only changing little things one day at a time, that they don't just throw it all on you. They do it day by day, and then in 2 months you're like, whoa, when did this happen? When did this change? Oh, that's been happening. They've raised it a quarter every day for 2 months. Oh, didn't know that. And all of a sudden you're paying $10 for chicken. You're paying $8 for a gallon of milk, or a half gallon of milk here. So rotisserie chickens are $9 here. See, they were $4 or $5, things like that. It's just like they've doubled the price on some of these things. They've tripled the price on things. They've changed, and then they've given you less with shrinkflation. Now you open up the box, and it's the same size box, but the bag inside with, say, like Cheez-Its or something is this little tiny bag this big. Even the little chips,
right.
It's just crazy.
You get 4 or 5 handfuls, and then that's it.
Oh yeah, those little bags of chips. They've even changed the wording. Instead of like king size, it's share size, because they even cut out the middle, like all the candy bars. Instead of king size as a big bar, it's share size. And what they were able to do is they were able to make it the same length candy bar as a king size, but they cut out the middle, And that middle, that little piece, that adds up over 100,000 candy bars. And they actually saved whatever amount of money from not putting that filler in, and they're charging you more for it. These kind of things. Febreze, making these weird cans where it looks like it's square all the way to the bottom. It looks like the same size can that you normally buy, but when you take off the plastic off the bottom, it's a round bottle, and they're cutting out like 2 ounces, and they've done this multiple times to where the point is, like last year you would buy a 10-ounce can of Febreze. Now you've got a 6-ounce can, and it says new packaging, more expensive, screw you. Well, it doesn't say screw you, but I mean, it essentially does.
It might as well, because you're, too oblivious to pay attention to the actual like ounce size of it for the same price. So they might as well be, because it looks the same, right?
Yeah. Oh no, it does. People say if you eat Doritos, or you could say we'll change the name to Doritos to Dorito, just Dorito. You open up the bag and it's one chip. The party is in your mouth and one person is invited. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, Adam, I don't want to keep you too long. The only other thing I want to talk about is I have family that lives in like way north Sweden on the Finland border. And my brother-in-law has, because I asked him about when the bear country flew some jets over and they got intercepted by Swedish Air Force. I asked him about that, and he said that for all his life, for like 20 plus years, he's heard threats of the bear country invading them. And so he's heard this his whole life. And I was just actually looking at Google Maps, and they're like way up there next to the Arctic Circle. And that would make sense that Vlad would want to invade there first. It'd be Norway before he came into Sweden and Finland. But, navally, that makes sense that he would try to come up there. And so I was just wanting to share that I've got an inside source in northern Sweden saying that he's heard all of his life that Vlad has been threatening to invade that.
Well, I believe, that, again, I wonder what their media is telling them right now, and it would be kind of cool to watch a translated full-on like night of a week full of Sweden news and see what they're telling people there. Sweden is a very important part of this whole equation. There are some weird things that have a lot to do with it. Well, I would love if you have any more information, or if they find out something, or if their local government tells them something there, please let us know, will you?
Yes, absolutely, Adam. I will.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And again, every other day is a call-in. If you find something out, let us know right away, okay?
Absolutely, dude.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful night. Thank you, Mark, and I appreciate you. And have a good night. That was Mark. Again, has family in Sweden. One thing, somebody says, then don't buy chips, Cokes, or unhealthy foods. Here's the thing. That is easy for some to say. One thing is, too, and I've been on both ends of the spectrum, first of all, to eat healthy is more expensive to eat junk, and that's not an accident. Okay, so the one thing I don't like is when people say, eat organic or eat this or eat that. Not everybody has the money to do that. I mean, if you look at an apple, $1 per pound, 99 cents per pound to $3.99 per pound organic, or just any. I mean, you guys know the difference. Organic milk. My kids cannot take the regular milk. We've done it. We know. I never drank organic anything when I was a kid because we didn't have the money for the organic anything. And it wasn't as big of a deal in the 80s and early 90s and stuff. In the 2000s, it started becoming more of a thing, and everybody started realizing that all of this stuff has junk in it. Mac and cheese has this and this and that, blah. All these foods that we ate as kids and took for granted is like we grew up on hot dogs, mac and cheese, Cheese Whiz, and all this crap. Nobody realized that it's literally creating the cancers and all the other stuff. Doritos, I'm sure, have tons of bad stuff. But again, if you can't afford to buy the organic stuff we have to get the organic milk because all three of my kids have issues with the non-organic stuff. Whatever they put in the regular milk is horrible. And I'm sure the organic stuff, when you buy organic and it's from a big company, guarantee you there's some of that organic stuff that's still got crap in it. So, they'll hide things. They do creative advertising to hide certain things. Like you may buy something that's an organic thing, but then you'll find out that they used these crazy other pesticide, but they have ruled in a court that it's not enough to hurt you, right? That's how they get away with all sorts of stuff. I mean, look at the one of the worst nuclear disasters on U.S. soil in Maryland, which, by the way, I would love to do a show on sometime. I don't know if you guys have seen. They actually covered it in a movie that's on Netflix. 3 Mile Island. If you guys were alive when the 3 Mile Island thing happened, then you know that there was a movie called The China Syndrome, oddly enough. And it predicted it, and it came out about 15 or 12 days before the 3 Mile Island nuclear incident happened. And not only did it predict it, it predicted the scenario and even the place. It said it could take out a place the size of Pennsylvania, and that's where it ended up happening. This hypothetical thing ended up kind of saying the exact thing, and it scared the crap out of people because nobody knew about anything nuclear, and they didn't know anything back then. But my more of my point there, though, is like they told people that, it's an acceptable amount. And that's what they're telling people with everything, right? The stuff that's in your water. This is why people like us are filtering our water now. I never thought I would have to filter my tap water. When I was a kid, we didn't think about that. We drank from the hose. Now, our water has all sorts of crap in it. And now, especially now, many people are questioning what's in it, right? But even if you have good tap water, it most likely has chemicals, the chemicals to clean it. So you make your choice, but I'm just saying not everybody has enough money to buy everything organic, and sometimes junk food, I know coming from a poor upbringing, that my mom didn't have money for anything but the crap. You know how especially back then when it was like you could go to the dollar meal of McDonald's and buy 3 $1 burgers and be fed for, that was a meal. Whereas you couldn't buy a single steak for that, right? It's like you could technically feed 3 people with $3. Now the dollar menu doesn't even exist. It's like $2.59 menu. They're like, hey, we're giving you a drink and a piece of meat for $11. Be happy. 70,000 here is extreme poverty for a family of 4. So we're in a different world now. Let's see here. Whoa. D-Brode Silb. On behalf of Gone Girl, she's doing good. She's riding. Hey, thank you so much. Again, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Gone Girl 777. Thank you, everybody. I love you guys. And then back to Vlad could go nuclear if he thinks Vlad is losing UKR. This is, again, Dex, I'm going to have you pop in on this, and I'm gonna actually go around and move my monitor here real quick.
Absolutely. It seems like every day somebody is telling us that Vlad can go nuclear. We've heard it from oligarchs. We've heard it from insiders. We've heard it from commanders, et cetera, et cetera. And here we have yet another person, another day. It's the U.S. intelligence chief has warned again, that they're saying sort of the same thing. And I know we talk a lot about this, and we sort of have to, dance around as to whether or not this is Ganda or whether or not this is coming from real insight and intelligence, and how much it's really based in fact versus based in opinions of these intelligence people, or these people that have knowledge of either him personally or what they've been analyzing the data and analyzing the movements. And I'm assuming that a high-ranking intelligence chief is probably well versed in his personality and what he does and the different types of things. So they're basically again saying if he's backed into a corner, or if he feels he's not getting where he wants to go, that they expect to see him go nuclear. We have talked about this so many times. We've heard about this over and over again. And it's not just us repeating it. We're only bringing it up every time it comes up in the media. So, whether it's coming up from the East or from the West, either side, they both throw this rhetoric around. And it's definitely something that will, change the landscape, so to speak, significantly if it happens, even if it happens at a tactical or a very narrow level in like a specific location, not, an all out global event. But when something like that jumps to the next level, it's going to be a big deal. And I think that's the one thing we have to keep paying attention to determine if this is something that's, really going to happen or has the potential to really happen. And then when it does, what are the next steps? Like, it's one thing if one goes off in UKR, but it really what happens is what is the next step? The next step is there retaliation? Does it escalate from there? Does it turn into a complete global thing, or does it get stopped right away? And hopefully it never happens. But, we keep hearing this over and over again.
And not only are we hearing it, it's everywhere, but it's and it's a little bit different than, I don't know, when some of you were kids, like we've talked about, we're told to hide under your desks, and there was the Cuban Missile Crisis and all this other stuff that went out, and we were all prepped and told to, hey, hide, and because you may be nuked, right? Is this the new Cuban Missile Crisis, or is this worse? Many of the experts and the scientists are saying it's much, much worse. By the way, I did have to turn Dex down when he went roboto, but then I'm sorry, I forgot to turn him back up. So you might have to turn it up on the replay. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's no good, and it is constantly pushed in our face, and it is scary. But at the same time, it's something that's happening. Now, I want to bring this up again because we have attached this over on Marfoogle News, and as far as getting out before things go south, really want to finish up with talking about how this is something that people need to plan for, as far as this is a scenario. And when I saw this picture, this could be an airport with a bad line, right? But really, this is a realistic scenario for any kind of logistical nightmare. I experienced one of these when a power line actually fell onto the freeway. In fact, I don't know if I have the picture here somewhere, but I was in a suit and tie, and essentially a power line came down. This made the news, and it was not believed by my boss until I came in with that picture. And then finally they saw the news, right? But a power line went down across both sides of the highway, and it wasn't just a normal power line. It was this big, and it was the size of, just a huge cable. And what it did is it ended up grabbing the roof rack of a car. SUV was going really fast, like an older one with the bars that stick out. It caught it, and it actually flipped the whole car onto the other side of the freeway. So not only did you have a car accident, you also had the both lanes of a 6-lane highway, 7 or 8 lanes in some places, blocked. We were sitting there for a good 5 hours or 6 hours, and it was to the point where people were actually playing soccer. There were school field trips that were out and playing. I mean, it was just absolutely nuts. And everybody was just having a good old fun time. But I thought about that day is if when we have our 9.0 here in the Northwest, when we have the Cascadia subduction zone goes, and one concrete barrier, one concrete overpass goes down, it's going to be one of these as far as one of this situation. And I don't think people are prepared for that, and I don't think people will ever plan for this until it's too late. And this is why people need to start thinking now with their families, if this is the scenario where everything is stop and go or just stop, that you need to have a backup plan. I know some people have smaller electric trikes or bikes in their trunks to where if that happens, they jump on their electric bicycle and they just roll back home, or they jet through everybody. Dex, you've talked about this with your family at length. Is that right?
Yeah, well, we're kind of rural, and we've got a lot of roads that we can take in different directions where we are. So they all have routes, multiple routes to get to our locations.
And as far as the wealthy Americans leaving, this is happening, and this is happening more so than ever. So people need to realize when we see this is a huge sign that down at our level, we need to start getting prepared. Somebody said, head to your local airport and jack a plane. Yeah, somebody did that here, actually. We covered that too. So people need to have a plan B, and it may not be paying $600,000 for dual citizenship at Malta, but you need to have a plan B now because they are getting their plan Bs lined up, and a lot of them are in the know people. So if that is happening, you need to get your stuff together. And then I do want to say a special thank you to the super thanks from last show. Marcy Rush on the replay ended up doing a super thanks. Thank you, Marcy. Main Watcher says, thanks for what you guys do. You changed my life 4 years ago. I'm in a better place to take care of my family. Hey, that is really awesome to hear, Main Watcher. Zippy Moons at Dex, a quilt made of sniffy hair. And of course, cool thing about super thanks is I can see that was on the part where we were talking about Vlad's blanket that was over him. I'm definitely going to heart that. And then Waffles is the cutest technical difficulty I've ever seen. Thanks for making the news fun. Waffles is the cutest technical difficulty I've ever seen. I think you meant name. 3 City Cats. That was really awesome. Diane Moses, thanks. Great show. Diane Moses, again, thanks. Hey, thank you for the super thanks. Again, for those of you that have done that and have figured that out even, is absolutely surprising. Thank you. Again, it is very much appreciated. And, yeah, thank you so much. Zippy Moons, I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting almost every show. Thank you, Gone Girl, for being out there somewhere, and I hope you're okay. And then, Dex, do you want to go over the web-only content?
Yeah, real quick, just go to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, and check out the web-only content. There's way too much for us to go into right now because we're running out of time. Adam, we got like less than a minute left on the main channel. So if you haven't been going there, you're missing out on the rest of the show. So lots of additional content. Go check it out, marfooglenews.com. Scroll down to that web-only content.
And the show continues over on Marfoogle Jams. If you want to stay on YouTube, go to Marfoogle Jams for the shoutro. If you want to, again, go over to DLive, it never stops there. Thank you to the DLive crew. Thank you, Release the Quacken. Thank you, Vault 11, Tristona, Smoke and Mirrors. When the top says nothing is wrong, that's when you run. That's right. Tower Bear, thank you. Vault 11, thank you, everybody. Stormy222. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout-out. It's a shoutro. said, get on down with me. Get on down, I said, get on down, I said, get on down with me. Get on down, I said, get on down, I said, get on down with me.